Hi everyone. Well, here we are, just under 4 weeks to go now until the end of term 3, and what a term it's been. We now have had students learning at home for longer than what they have on site. Completely mad, completely crazy, but we're nearly there, and here's hoping that we'll be able to have students back on site for a much more normal term 4. Fingers crossed, legs crossed, arms crossed, everything crossed that you can think of, that we can make that happen. In the meantime, I would like to stop and take a short moment to recognise and thank everyone. And when I say everyone, students, parents, teachers, for the effort that you're making to maintain momentum and engagement in learning during this very difficult time. What has been really pleasing to see is the high level of participation from students in a very broad range of learning activities. And that ranges from the classroom, Zoom check-ins, live lessons, activities posted on Seesaw and via Google Classroom, through to our specialist programs, which have been attended and engaged in at a much higher level this term. It's been incredibly pleasing, and maintaining momentum this time around. I think we would all agree that our motivation levels have probably gone up and down a little bit more than what they did in term 2. But to see that high level of participation certainly makes me very proud. And I appreciate that that comes from a lot of effort certainly from our teachers in terms of the way in which they're designing learning, but also the effort that you're putting in at home. I know that it comes at a sacrifice, personal sacrifice, and it's very challenging, particularly for those of you who are juggling work commitments and supporting your children at home. I know it's complex, but thank you for the effort that you're putting in. What also has been very pleasing is to see an even higher level of engagement in our afternoon clubs programs. Who would have thought that we would have over 80 kids learning the ukulele together via Zoom? Completely mad and crazy, particularly when you click the unmute button. But to see kids really, I guess, leaning into some different challenges and having a go at something new has been incredibly pleasing. Seeing kids participate in activities like the science club, the STEAM program, kids recycling old materials into something new as part of the upcycle program, or even cooking with Karen on a Wednesday. These are incredible experiences that the kids have, engaged in and participated in, and hopefully some of what they've done, will stay with them for the rest of their life. Certainly, when I see kids at the weekly writing club, the Lego club, doing the cooking program, my hope is that the fun that they're having, what they're gaining from those sessions, is something that will stay with them for many years to come. But at the same time, I really appreciate that in order for kids to participate, there has to be a lot of effort behind the scenes, not just from the people who organise these great activities, but from families who are willing to, maybe go to the shops and buy the materials in advance, have the kitchen set up, have even some grandparents there to help. That takes a lot of planning and a lot of preparation. And to see that we've got such large numbers of students involved says to me that people are prepared to put in the effort still, despite all the challenges, the personal, emotional challenges that we're experiencing, in order for our kids to have a really worthwhile and meaningful experience during remote learning. So thank you. I know it's really difficult. I guess, with regards to how we're going as a community, I would also like to acknowledge that this time around, the second lockdown, the second period of remote learning has presented many families with additional challenges, and that might be from a financial perspective, with work hours being reduced or work ceasing as part of stage 4 restrictions, even at a level in terms of how we manage our own well-being. That's been more challenging this time around. It's been much more of a marathon. I think it's been described in the media as being a marathon rather than the sprint that we had earlier in the year. If you are really struggling, I encourage you to revisit some of the things you were most likely doing in term 2 with regards to how you maintained your own well-being. That might have been exercise, eating better foods, consuming better fluids, those sorts of things, but also doing the little things like expressing gratitude regularly to teachers or to other family members who have been making a contribution or making a big difference. Those sorts of things, we tend to forget to do those important things that certainly make a difference to other people who are putting in a lot of effort, but also for ourselves. We do those sorts of things. You do something to say thank you, or you do something that is in recognition of someone else, and it feels good. And as a result, our well-being can be enhanced or improved. So I encourage you to keep doing that sort of thing. If you're finding that WhatsApp groups are becoming overly negative, or if the constant criticism and complaints is just becoming a little overbearing, I encourage you to not be that person, because that's not healthy, but also to think about what you need in terms of your own well-being. I know for my wife, she's talked about needing to step back from some of those sorts of groups because it's not been useful, it's not been healthy in terms of the discussion, and just makes you end up feeling really flat and no good. So again, I encourage you to just to think about, with of course greatest respect, the choices you're making to support yourself and to stay strong. We've got another 4 weeks or so to go, so it's not over yet. But again, take the time out for yourself, stay healthy, and we'll look forward to seeing kids back at school in term 4. Fingers crossed.